Good afternoon and welcome to the 6th meeting of the Joint Select Committee on Local Authorities, Service Commissions and Statutory Authorities, including the Tobago House of Assembly of the 13th Parliament. This is the committee's second public hearing with stakeholders pursuant to its inquiry into the performance of municipal corporations with a focus on road repairs and maintenance. Members of the listening and viewing audience are invited to post or send their comments via the Parliament's various social media platforms, Facebook page, ParlView, the Parliament's YouTube channel, and Twitter. You can also follow us on Instagram and Facebook at TT Parl Committees for real-time updates and highlights from committee meetings. I will now invite our officials to introduce their representatives, starting with the Ministry of Works and Infrastructure.
Good afternoon. I am Ian Rabin, Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Works and Infrastructure.
Good afternoon. Anton Balfour, Deputy Program Director, Pure Ministry of Works and Infrastructure.
Okay, we proceed with the Ministry of Rural Development and Local Government.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair, members of the Joint Select Committee. My name is Madhu Balrup. I'm the Acting Technical Officer at the Ministry of Rural Development and Local Government. And accompanying me today is Mr. Ronaldo Padilla, Engineering and Survey Officer.
Thank you. And now we proceed to the various corporations, starting with the Arima Borough Corporation.
Good afternoon, all. I am Sean Gaffur. I'm the engineer at Arima Borough Corporation. Accompanying me is Mr. Elon Edwards. He's the Work Supervisor too at this corporation as well.
Thank you. Chaguanas Borough Corporation.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair. My name is Michael Mohan. I'm the Engineering and Surveying Officer at the Chaguanas Borough Corporation. Accompanying me is Councillor Richard Suckdale.
Thank you. Next, we have the Diego Martin Borough Corporation.
Madam Chair, honourable members of the Joint Select Committee, good afternoon. I am Akil Solomon, the Engineer and Surveying Officer at the Diego Martin Borough Corporation.
Thank you, Mr. Solomon. Next, we have the Penal Debe Regional Corporation.
Good day, Chair and committee members. I represent the Penal Debe Regional Corporation. Together with me would be the Vice Chairman, Ms. Shanti Putram, our Road Officer, Ms. Gillian, and myself, the County Superintendent, Anand Chakman.
Thank you, Mr. Jagmohan. Next, we have the Siparia Borough Corporation.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair and member of the committee. My name is Andy Allen. I'm the Engineering and Survey Officer of the Siparia Borough Corporation. Accompanying me is His Worship the Mayor, Mr. Donald Meru of the Siparia Borough Corporation. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Allen. And lastly, we have the San Fernando City Corporation.
Good afternoon, everyone. Chairman, Joint Select Committee. My name is Nikish Graham. I am the City Engineer of the San Fernando City Corporation. Accompanying me is my Acting Engineering Assistant 3, Mr. Ray Saunders.
Thank you, Ms. Graham. I just have one question. Do we have a Mr. Wesley Gadgeta from the Ministry of Works and Infrastructure here today?
Pleasant good afternoon, Chair. Wesley Gadgeta, Legal Officer, Ministry of Works and Transport.
Okay, thank you for confirming. All right, so I am Candace Jones Simmons, Independent Senator and Chair of this committee. And with me today are the members of this committee, and I will invite them now to introduce themselves, starting with Madam Vice Chair.
Michelle Benjamin, MP, Minister, Vice Chair.
Good afternoon, everyone. Vandana Mohit, member of this committee.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Kareem Marcel, Member of Parliament, member of this committee.
Good afternoon, Prakash Prasad, a member.
Good afternoon, Natalie Triton Mirage, member.
Thank you, members. This committee is ably supported by Mr. Julian Ogilvie, the Secretary of the committee, and Assistant Secretaries Mr. Brian Lucio and Ms. Keisha Peterkin, and we are also supported by the Parliamentary Research Specialist. Now, as I would have said before, this is our second public hearing, and at the first public hearing, we did invite 7 other corporations to share their perspectives, and I will, for the benefit of the viewing and listening public, outline the objectives of the committee's inquiry, and they are to examine the role of municipal corporations in facilitating road repairs and maintenance. 2, to assess the effectiveness of municipal corporations over the last 3 years in implementing their mandate in relation to road repairs and maintenance. And 3, to examine the implications of the proposed local government reform initiatives on the role and function of the municipal corporations with regard to road repairs and maintenance. I will now invite the following persons to make brief opening remarks, and we'd ask you to keep those opening remarks to 1 minute each. And we will start with Mr. Ian Ramdin, Permanent Secretary of the Ministry of Works and Infrastructure.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair, honourable members of the committee, colleagues from the ministries and regional corporations. Ministry of Works and Infrastructure is tasked with providing and maintaining physical infrastructure to meet the needs of the society and economic development of Trinidad and Tobago. We are responsible for design, construction, maintenance, and upgrading of roads, highways, bridges, and drain infrastructure, as well as coastal protection and marine services. The ministry, under our remit, we manage approximately 2,000 kilometers of road network, which is 21%, and these are the major roads, the secondary roads and the special roads. We also have, in these systems, we have around 1,200 bridges and 2,500 culverts that we also have under remit. We are here to work with the regional corporations because we are getting a lot of requests from them. They are resource constrained, and we are actually sharing our resources with them in terms of helping them meet their operational expectations. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ramdin. I now invite His Worship Dudnat Meru, Mayor of the Siparia Borough Corporation.
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the Joint Select Committee. Thank you for inviting the Siparia Borough Corporation. As Trinidad and Tobago newest and southmost borough, a status just granted 3 years ago, our corporation is a gateway for tourist destinations such as the Pitch Lake, farming and fishing communities. With a 100-kilometer coastline, we understand our clear mandate to maintain local roads, residential traces, and village access roads. We face a unique infrastructure crisis where our borough is still catching up with its new responsibilities. We urgently need targeted support for our local road network to fulfill our mandate to residents. We look forward to your support in solving this crisis. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. And next we have Councillor Richard Sukdeo, Councillor for Cunupia, Chaguanas Borough Corporation.
Thank you. Madam Chair, members of the committee, colleagues around this table, good afternoon. The Chaguanas Borough Corporation appreciates the opportunity to participate in this important examination of the performance of municipal corporation with focus on road repairs and maintenance. We are therefore optimistic that this process will yield meaningful recommendations to improve service delivery. Although Chaguanas Borough Corporation covers just 59 square kilometers, there is approximately 1,100 roads under our management. It is one of the most densely populated municipalities in Trinidad and Tobago, serving approximately 100,000 burgesses. Having obtained borough status in 1990, Chaguanas has grown into one of the country's fastest growing urban centers with expanding residential and commercial development. Our goal at the Chaguanas Borough Corporation is to achieve city status. Consequently, maintaining our road network remains a critical priority, second only to garbage collection services. While we do not face the challenges such as hilly terrain or landslides, recurring flooding contributes to road deterioration, and to assist in these roads maintenance, drainage is an integral infrastructure which demands additional financial resources. Despite aging equipment and limited human and financial resources, the Chaguanas Borough Corporation continues to carry out essential road repairs and maintenance. Additional resources, however, would greatly enhance our ability to improve the scope of roads maintenance and repairs, thereby creating better communities. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Sukdeo. Next, we have Mr. Madhu Balrup, Acting Technical Officer at the Ministry of Rural Development and Local Government.
Good afternoon again, Madam Chair, honorable members of the committee, and distinguished attendees. I wish to thank the committee for the opportunity to once again appear before you today. The ministry remains committed to transparency, accountability, and effective delivery of programs and projects under its purview. We welcome the opportunity to provide updates, clarify matters raised by the committee, and contribute constructively to today's proceedings. We look forward to engaging with the committee and addressing any questions that may arise. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Balrup. And now I invite Mr. Elon Edwards, Work Supervisor 2 at the Arima Borough Corporation.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm here from Arima Borough Corporation. I would like to say that Arima is very densely populated also, and we are here just to represent the fact that we have been liaising with Ministry of Works for some time to alleviate some of the issues we would have had with the road maintenance. We have a lot of work that we do for development also to alleviate that, and we also try a lot through our patching internally to try and bring that resolve in terms of the road issues that we would have. So we are here and open to you all to just to give the feedback, and we're hoping for a very good resolve in terms of our way going forward, in terms of equipment and financing and more to do a great work for the Borough of Arima. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Edwards. I now invite Mr. Akil Solomon, Engineering and Survey Officer at the Diego Martin Borough Corporation.
Madam Chair, honorable members of the Joint Select Committee, good afternoon again. On behalf of the Diego Martin Borough Corporation, thank you for the opportunity to contribute to this inquiry on road repairs and maintenance. The Diego Martin Borough Corporation recognizes that road infrastructure is essential to the safety, mobility, and well-being of residents. Despite challenges such as aging infrastructure, adverse weather conditions, and limited resources, every effort is made to deliver road maintenance and repair works effectively, transparently, and in accordance with established priorities. Through routine maintenance programs, emergency responses, and targeted infrastructure improvement, the Diego Martin Borough Corporation remains committed to improving service delivery and addressing the needs of the community throughout the borough. The Diego Martin Borough Corporation welcomes this opportunity to share its experience, challenges, and recommendations, and look forward to contributing meaningfully to today's proceeding. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Solomon. I now invite Mrs. Shanti Budram, Vice Chairman of the Penal Debe Regional Corporation.
Good afternoon, Madam Chairperson and members of the Joint Select Committee. I am Shanti Budram, Vice Chairman of the Penal Debe Regional Corporations Council. Accompanying me today are Mr. Anand Jagmohan, Work Superintendent, and Mrs. Gillian Suku Nagisa, Road Officer 1, both dedicated officers of the Pinal Debe Regional Corporation. We proudly serve a population of nearly 90,000 burgesses across 10 electoral districts, each with unique needs and expectations, from road construction and maintenance to environmental services, recreational facilities, and public care. Our corporation is entrusted with responsibilities that directly impact the daily lives of citizens. Among these, road infrastructure stands out as a cornerstone of development, facilitating commerce, education, healthcare access, and community connectivity. We believe that constructive assessment is essential to strengthening our systems, addressing gaps, and charting a path toward more effective services delivery. Together, through collaboration between local and national stakeholders, we can build resilient communities and advance the vision of equitable development for all. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Budram. And I now invite Ms. Nikisha Graham, City Engineer, San Fernando City Corporation.
Good afternoon again, Chair and committee, distinguished members who have been invited. The San Fernando City Corporation is happy to have the opportunity to participate in this very special, event. We are happy that we can contribute our experience and expertise with other great minds so that we can improve the infrastructural development specific to roads, and maybe even more than that, not only for San Fernando, but for our country nationwide. My heart is always set on contributing to the improvement of our country so that our people can live excellent lives. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Graham. At this stage, I wish to remind both committee members and officials to direct all questions through the chair. And when you do so, or when you make your contributions, I'm asking you to kindly activate your microphones. And when you finish making your contributions, please turn it off. And now we will proceed with today's inquiry. At this stage, I'd like to invite Member Marcel. I don't know if you're ready,
Yes,
right?
most-
Because I believe you said you'd start us off with a few questions.
Most certainly, please, Madam Chair. Thank you very kindly, Madam Chair. Good afternoon again, members. My first question would be through you, Chair, to the Permanent Secretary of the Ministry of Works and Infrastructure. At the last hearing, the last public hearing on this matter, and in relation to your submission, you indicated that technical officers of your ministry would usually attend the regional coordinated meetings at the different respective municipal corporations. And specifically at the last hearing, there was a statement made by the chairman of the San Juan Lavente Regional Corporation that on the last regional coordinating meeting, there was no representative from the Ministry of Works and Infrastructure. So my first question is whether you are aware of this occurrence, and if so, how often does this happen, where technical officers simply don't show up at the regional coordinated meetings?
Madam Chair, through you, let me respond. I regularly follow up on these meetings because I delegate the task downwards to the director of the highway. He would instruct the district officers to attend. The challenge we face at these meetings is that, it's a chairman of a regional corporation which carries a political status, talking down and degrading the officers at the meeting, blaming us for roads that we don't really manage. And the officers keep coming back to us complaining, they don't like how they're being treated and respected at these meetings. So to mix political officers with the technocrats in the ministry, and there has to be a better way of delivering that, because what I told them, we probably need to set up a technical forum where all the technical people, technical engineers from the corporation and the ministry meet and collaborate in terms of how these things, because the reality is that demands are being placed on the ministry. Our budget is only for the highways, the major roads, secondary roads, and special roads like the PBR. We are not assigned recurrent expenditure fixing local government roads. We are taking our resources and we are sharing it with the regional corporation. So one example is that we buy the asphalt, the aggregate, we buy the bitumen, we mix it in the Agua Santa plant, and we distribute it to the regional corporations. So it's our expenditure being expended there. We ask NIDCO to procure items for us, like asphalt, to contractors. We distribute it to the regional corporations. Sometimes, like recently, I got a complaint that officers went carry the asphalt and the corporation did not have any staff to do the paving. So I have to take my resources now and assign our internal resources, stretch them to pave the roads for the local regional corporations. So it is it's a relationship management issue, but you can't have political persons degrading the technical staff because they didn't really cause the problem. But we provide support in terms of engineering solutions and see how best we could support.
So, Pierre, thanks for that response. In relation to the setup of these regional coordinating meetings, which would usually be chaired by the respective mayors or chairmen regarding the different municipal corporations, and that committee also being made up of other councillors and aldermen from the respective districts. You also have in that, if I'm not mistaken, the CEO of each corporation sitting on that. Is it your position that the existing format of having technical officers report through these regional coordinating committee is becoming sort of toxic, in the sense that wherever you find persons who hold political office questioning technical officers, that it becomes so hostile that is the account for officers not showing up to the coordinating meetings or not?
Madam Chair, through you, to an extent, I would say the way the relationship is handled at that level, is an area for improvement. There's the Rural Development Company, right? There's the Ministry of Rural Development and Local Government. What I keep telling my team is that when a request is being made from a regional corporation, they should go through their line ministry. The line ministry, Ministry of Rural Government and Local Development, they collate all the issues by the particular corporation, and they send it to the officer, they send it to me, and I would delegate it down to the Director of Highways, right? In that way, if there are 50 issues, I would have to see how best I could allocate resources and time to support certain. I can't really address all because it's all the corporations coming to us at once. It's a bottleneck issue. Remember, I'm providing support, right? The line ministry is really the Ministry of Rural Government, and they have a line item, vote for supporting bridges and roads. They have the Rural Development Company, but we're doing work on the outside. But for us to be getting blamed, the officers complain that it's not fair for them, and they become just disenchanted.
All right. Yeah. All right. Let me ask on the issue of providing. You indicated that the ministry provides both technical and logistical support to the different municipal corporations, specific to road maintenance. And you also indicated earlier that you provide, whether you procure the asphalt through NITCO or whatever different procurement agency under your ministry in order to facilitate same. I want to ask on that question. Can you explain what is the process by which a corporation can make a request to the Ministry of Works and Infrastructure for assistance in relation to road patching or paving under that same technical and logistical support, please?
Madam Chair, through you, if I could give an example. In 2017, the Rural Development Company, the Kaigal Road in the Fishing Pond area, they did a road crossing repair, and Ministry of Works also planned the same road crossing repair, right? Duplication, double expenditure on the same thing, one entity doing it, and I could have a ghost project falling afterwards, right? So I keep saying that when these projects identified, there should be a national database for road planning. So we have in the ministry central road planning, which collates all the GIS data for defects on the roads, right? All these things need to be submitted to us so we can put it on the system. We risk rank it, prioritize it, and try to see how we can support, right? So, but our focus is on the main highways, the secondary roads. We try to maintain those, but when it comes to the local roads, it's like the pure. Now, the thing about it, how the ministry is structured, the highways division looks after the main roads, the highways, the secondary roads, and the special roads. The pure division was set up to support the municipal corporations with their local roads. And they had a funding mechanism whereby external loans would be taken, and they were basically fixing roads in local government areas.
In relation to pure assistance specifically with some of the roads that fall under the municipal corporations, can perhaps, if not UPS, perhaps maybe your deputy program manager of pure, can you indicate what is the process for a corporation to request the assistance of the ministry through PURE, for example, to have roads within their district either repaired by way of paving or by way of simply patching?
Madam Chair, through you, the ministry has an IDF vote. It's for pothole patching, sectional rehabilitation. We have realized that that's an IDF. A pothole, to patch potholes is not a 3-year project, so it should not be on the IDF to start with, right? So we moved that. We have something new setting up called National Restoration and Rehabilitation of a Road Program. The thing about it, to fix these roads, I have to go externally to external contractor because it's IDF. With the consolidated now, where we put in the NPPP program, it's a combo mix between internal resources, rented equipment, and local government working in tandem, 3 entities to basically repair roads. So what I need really is a database of all the roads that are being, put this way, in need of repair. Now, what the ministry is also doing, we are working with WASA. The reason why local government roads are in such a terrible state is because you have people living in these urban, rural areas, and water lines are passing there, right? The water lines fail, WASA comes in, dig it up, wait 3 months afterwards to see if there's further leak, and then come back and patch. The roads don't get consolidated properly before they go and patch, and that is why when they patch, they don't patch to the satisfaction and control we expect it. And you'll find a lot of local roads in a state of disrepair because of that. Now, we're working right now at WASA, because every time they go on to repair, we are sending our ministry team through PURE and the Highways Division to supervise the repair. So previously there was no interface and supervision, now we're doing that. So we ensure that the quality of repair could hold.
Right. Wait, one last question, Madam Chair, before I pass on, to give some other members an opportunity. In relation to, you gave an indication earlier in your submission that there were times where the ministry would have provided asphalt or hot mix to the corporation. They showed up at a particular corporation's gate, and no workers there, all right? And then you having to spend monies essentially and resources internally in order to ensure that the material doesn't waste. In light of that indication, can you, and I would ask perhaps for this to be provided perhaps in writing in order to save time. Can you provide to this committee a listing, whether by whatever metric, by tons or whatever metric that is being used to measure in terms of how much asphalt or hot mix and so on is, through this arrangement, is given to each corporation, perhaps within the specified period of the last 3 years, please?
Madam Chair, through you. Actually, we have data here. Mr. Anton could explain how much request has been made at the global scale and how much we actually could service now as we move forward.
Afternoon, Madam Chair. In the essence of time, currently, we don't have it for a 3-year period, but for just this year, what was facilitated to the corporations, we got a request in the tune of 2,828 tons is request. That's not all the corporations, that's just about 7 corporation requests. We were only able to facilitate approximately 75 tons. And that is because, as PS indicated, the sharing of resources and the amount of finances that we have to utilize, that is the amount that we are able to facilitate at present. Right? So, that's you.
You're saying the request is for 2,828 tons within the last fiscal, and that you're unable to provide 75 tons, and that is throughout about seven corporations.
That's correct.
All right, understood. Thanks very kindly.
Thank you very much, Mr. Balfour and Mr. Ramdin. Mr. Ramdin, just to ask, you referred to the acronym IDF, and for the benefit of the listening and viewing public, is that the Infrastructural Development Fund? And if so, you would confirm. And just to ask that when you do make references to these acronyms for the benefit of the viewing and listening public, that you can expand on those technical terms. Thank you.
Madam Chair, you're correct. That's the actual acronym, Infrastructure Development Fund.
Thank you. I believe Member Benjamin had a question. Yes.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, to you, PS, just for clarity, with regards to the issue with the officers, the technical officers, and the relationship or the discourse that took place in the coordinated meeting, is it specific to the Sawa Lavantil Corporation, or is it something that happens throughout? And if so, do you have an idea, or could you give us by name the corporations that you have those issues with? And also, if you could include in your answer if those instances were documented in writing by your technical staff, and if so, did you write back to the respective corporation to try to mitigate the situation?
Madam Chair, through you. I followed the protocol. At my level as PS, I would write the PS at Ministry of Local Government. So, for example, I could give the St. John Bridge that has failed. The ministry is stepping in to fix the bridge. It's not our bridge, it's local, right? But it's going to cost a sizable amount of money. So we are expending our money. So I basically have to write the Ministry of Local Government to confirm whether they are expending money for the same project, because we don't have double expenditure. So I would confirm and seek their permission to proceed on the project, because I cannot take my staff. If my staff is operating outside jurisdiction and OSHA incident happens, the PS becomes liable because they operate outside.
Madam Chair, through you for clarity. So I was alluding to the meetings and the discourse from the political arm that you pointed out and the technical. So to get clarity, if it exists throughout different corporations, if you have a number, if you could give us an idea which corporations, and if you would have got those complaints in writing, and if you try to mitigate the situation in writing as well.
Madam Chair, through you, the complaints would come to me, but as protocol, I would not write the corporations directly because I would liaise with the Ministry of Local Government as the line ministry, from line ministry to line ministry.
Sorry, just piggybacking off of the question of Member Benjamin, I think and Member Benjamin, you can tell me if I have captured your query. I think what we're trying to understand is whether these tensions, as described by you, if they're arising out of a particular personality or personalities or office holders, and if you can give us an indication of that with some measure of specificity, is this across the board problem, or is this a specific individual or corporation's problem?
Madam Chair, through you, this is a systemic issue across the board with all the corporations. The issue of writing back the corporation will make requests. I would send, they will also make requests to the minister, our line minister, and we would do tours with the line minister to look at the issues and whatever, and we would see how best we could support. Right?
So PS, Madam Chair, through you. So I think you're missing the question. You would have, in your answer to Member Marcel, with regards to why technical staff are hesitant in attending the SAWA Lawantil coordinating meeting, you said in your response that it's due to the discourse or how the political arm would interface with the technical staff. So the question I'm asking is that across the board? Does it have hostility in all the coordinating meeting? Is it something that was pointed out to you? If you could give us specific by corporation. Did you, as you rightfully said, that you could only go PS to PS with regards to your communication? Was it communicated to the PS and local government that your officers are being dealt with in a hostile manner and that they would like to refrain from attending the coordinating meeting? That is the remit of the question. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Proceed, Mr. Ramden. Thanks.
Okay, Madam Chair. Yes, I get feedback from all the officers who have to attend in different district areas, and that's the general consensus across the board. In terms of the score that happens there. But I still encourage them to go and attend and take the notes and basically stay neutral and report back. Regarding the reporting of the writing back and saying what is happening, is something I'm working with Mr. Balfour right now with in terms of setting up a reporting structure and framework because it doesn't have the procedure and protocols pre-established. So that's one area where we want to rectify. Now, I said procedure and protocol because the ministry has the chief roads engineer, chief bridge engineers. Anything built by the regional corporation, they don't send it for us for approval, right? So technical vetting of these projects don't happen. When things fail, then we get called in, right? So we want to standardize everything by setting up a system where if you're building a road, if you're building drains, whatever, you send it to us for vetting, and we give the a third-party opinion on where it can improve or how we could proceed with development.
Before I allow, I believe, Member Mohit, you had a question. I wish to invite His Worship, Mayor Meru, to share your perspective on the conduct of these meetings. Do you have a perspective on how these meetings have been conducted at the regional corporation? Thanks.
Madam Chair, thank you for the opportunity. This is the first time I'm hearing of this. And I usually is in all my coordinating committee meetings. And I never heard any officer from the Ministry of Works complaining about being treated unfairly or being abused at those meetings. This is news to me.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, for sharing your perspective. I would invite Member Mohit.
Thanks, Madam Chair. PS Ministry of Works. Now, I get what you're saying. I'm not saying that it's happening across the board. I myself sat as a local government representative, and at times you would hear, some of the reps from your ministry, Ministry of Works, they would not want to come back to these meetings not because they are being abused necessarily, but because of the fact that they receive requests at these meetings under other public business. And when they receive these requests, and they come month after month, now at every meeting, councillors will follow up on their requests. And when these representatives have no response because they have no material, or they ask for the material through the said Ministry of Works, they are not getting it, or its equipment is not available, or they don't have any manpower to do the works, the political arm becomes a little bit frustrated, and they may ask the question, well, this is the third or fourth time I'm requesting this, and I'm not getting a response. I don't see that as abuse, but these are some of the things I would have experienced as a local government representative. So, according to the Municipal Corporations Act, the coordinating meeting must happen every month. Now, if you don't have responses for the political arm, obviously the political arm will have questions as to, okay, well then, I have heard it before, what is our purpose here in making these requests if we are not getting anything out of it? Now, I would tell you, if you'd permit me, Madam Chair, on several occasions, I'm hearing the Ministry of Works for the period in which we are reviewing here today. On several occasions, the municipal corporations would have had to use their materials to fix Ministry of Works roads because Ministry of Works were not giving the corporations the materials. Now, I'm not sure if you were there during that time, the period being reviewed, so I would not blame you for it, but I'm just expressing that while you are expressing this, this is also happening in the local government arm as well, where local government municipalities are also fixing Ministry of Works roads because Ministry of Works, there are several occasions when the trucks will be ready to pick up the materials where you are asking them to pick up, and then the plant break down. So it is a relationship management issue because both arms, the Ministry of Works and Ministry of Local Government, would make arrangements on different occasions, and sometimes it just will not work out. So I will not say it's the local government arm alone. Both agencies or both ministries, whether it be by who has to be, in communication with who according to protocol, it needs to happen, and there needs to be a system put in place to deal with the road infrastructure in our country, whether it be secondary roads, Ministry of Works roads, local roads, traces, whatever it is, where the support is needed. Yes, the system needs to be in place where you both can monitor some MOU or whatever it takes, because you spoke about wasting materials, and the employees will not be on site. I will say in Chaguanas we don't have that issue because we make proper arrangements with Ministry of Works, and mind you, we have good support coming from your ministry because we have learned over time. Now, when we say wasting materials, there are times when materials, the corporations will send trucks to your plants, whichever plant you send them to, for materials. They'll be there 3 o'clock in the morning, at times 4 o'clock, waiting in a line. They'll get the materials, sometimes 11, 12. Now, municipal corporations, they are on the road for a period of time. So what we do in Shogunas is make arrangements. So if we know the truck is still in the line at 10 o'clock, you hold the workers back and you make some form of arrangement for them to wait for the materials. Or you tell them, don't come out 6 o'clock in the morning to wait there, come out 11 because you're going until 4, some form of arrangement. So the relationship needs to be improved between Ministry of Works and local government, because I do not think it's a tit for tat and blame game that should be happening here. It has to be both ministries working in tandem. So I just wanted to bring some clarity in terms of my very own experiences with these two ministries, Ministry of Local Government and Ministry of Works, because I have had the opportunity to learn the hard way with these two ministries in terms of coordination and collaboration. Lastly, I do not think any officer should stay away from our coordinating meetings, because this is going to break down an entire system. What you're explaining to us, it's a good system to build, yes, PS to PS, but that is very bureaucratic. It's going to keep back the entire system. When you can fix something in 1 day, 2 days, you're going to have that linger. And it's going to take a very long period of time to get these things fixed. Potholes are going to get bigger, and, you know, things are going to become worse nationwide. So I just wanted to share my 2 cents a bit so you understand that, yes, you have these challenges, but local government also have these challenges. So let us have our officers back in meetings, communicate it in writing, and where the problems exist, we should be fixing that so it does not continue to occur and we have that good partnership rolling.
Thank you, Member Mohit. I wish to also invite the members of the Ministry of Local Government to share their perspectives on this issue as well.
Madam Chair, through you. So what I can say is for the current period, for this fiscal year, I can't speak to the previous years. There is a relationship between the Ministry of Works and the Ministry of Rural Development and Local Government with respect to the requests that comes from the corporations for the mix. So this was put in place by the Ministry of Works, where they would have submitted to the ministry a template or format to be submitted to all the municipal corporations, which was done. And we had to ensure that the corporations would submit a complete request in terms of not leaving any gaps or incomplete information, because all the information within the template is pertinent to the Ministry of Works. And this was done for this particular fiscal year. I would say the communication is good. Mr. Balfour and from the Ministry of Works and myself have a very good rapport and communication. And we have been receiving and we have submitted. I recall Mr. Balfour saying there were 7 requests that came in, 7 municipal corporations, and that is a fact. Some corporations have not, for this fiscal, submitted their information as yet. So we continue to remind them to submit the information so that we can, in fact, Ministry of Works can, in fact, produce, submit the information and produce the asphalt for them. Yeah?
Thank you very much. And, sorry.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Madam Chair, through you. P.S. You would have heard my colleague, Member Mohit, and not to reiterate what she said, but as a former local government representative, I could tell you the corporation that I sat in, there was a working relationship. And as a former representative, is a relationship, even as a then councillor, you know that you have to foster because you depended on that relationship. So just for clarity and for the sake of this committee, if we could get in writing the corporations that these difficulty exists so that we could try to render some sort of assistance going forward. P.S. Through in your submissions and even in your written submissions, you alluded with regards to a standard operating procedure manual. Could you tell me what that manual will entail and which works will be covered under that? Because even in your verbal response here today, you keep alluding with regards to these standards.
Madam Chair, through you. There's the Exchequer and Audit Act, right, that manages the financial accountability for financial resources. The reality is, even though our representative will go to meetings, right, and when they collate all the requests, the bottom line is the Ministry of Works does not have a line item for supporting local government, right? We apply our internal resources that is intended for the highways, and we sacrifice the highways, we sacrifice secondary road to give the local government the resources. So we don't have a line item for, because you're not under us, right? So what we do is we provide support. We provide technical guidance support. So we try to assist them anyway. So the reason why you won't get responses is like when these entities, these officers go and you have 15 requests that tallies up to like $600,000 in expenditure. The reality is I don't have that funding to say I could make the request through Ministry of Finance. And that's what I'm saying. You need to have a procedure where when you make a request through local government, you send it to the online Ministry of Local Government, Rural Development Local Government, so that they can make the representation to Ministry of Finance to get the allocation for you all, right? That's one example of a procedure, right? So we also have, I face the issue of a lot of theft, right? Things go missing, materials go missing, simple as Ministry ordered limestone. We get delivery of limestone, but I ask them about where's the delivery notes for the limestone, right? When we distribute the mill material, I ask where is the material going? What's the area to cover? Who's receiving it? The accountability and traceability part, right? The completions report that comes back to say this is the area that's applied. So you would find our team now going out in the field, doing the computation, calculating how much material is really required, coming back and basically correlating it with your requests, right? So it's a reconciliation accountability process where we have to account for whatever we is providing.
Okay, before I allow Member Mohit, Member Professor Prasad, you had a question?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I am not very familiar, I have no experience with local government, but the discussion has been very enlightening for me. But I am an engineer, so I want to talk about from the point of systems, because what I'm hearing here is seems to have systemic problems. That's what it is. I mean, we could focus on the individual ones, but if we don't look at the overall design, a such picture of it, these problems are going to continue. Also, bear in mind the fact that you said that you only look at the Ministry of Works 21% of the roads. That's a figure you use. So local government looks at the majority of the roads in the country. And therefore, it's an important issue that must be addressed. So I have endless questions, but Madam Chair, I will just ask one or two. So you said that, for instance, that let's look at the issue of design of bridges and drains. And repairs will be a function of the design. A poor design will require more repairs. It's not so. So now it can't be too bureaucratic that everybody sends, all the corporations send their designs to the Ministry of Works to be swamped. Are you thinking of actually doing training, firstly, to the officers in the Ministry of Works? And secondly, with regard to the contractors, and in particular the small contractors that will carry repairs, is there any move to train them also so when they do the repair, it will look good?
I give an example, and I'll ask about it later on. Like Arangwes Main Road, I live in Arangwes, and I see, the private people get involved and fix the roads, the potholes. They make an attempt, and after 2 days, the pothole gets bigger. So they need to be trained. So I think, people want to help. So the contractors themselves need to be trained, and I think the local regional corporations, right, local bodies need to be trained also on how to design, etc. It will make your life easier. It will make the country better. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Professor Prasad. Member Mohit.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Madam Chair, I just want to look a little bit on the prioritization of road repair, because I'm listening to what P.S. Ramadan is saying, and I want to switch a little bit to local government. How often within the municipalities, the different regional corporations, the technical officers carry out inspections within the municipality they are responsible for and provide a list to the council or the CEO as to urgent road repairs? So you have a proper list in terms of prioritization. Is that happening across the board at any regional corporation?
Madam Chair, through you, if I may answer. The ministry, we have road inspectors, bridge inspectors. My vision for them is to basically scout the country and identify all the road defects and come up with a JS database so that we could calibrate, in terms of the investment required. The reality is that because of our short staff and the attrition, people leaving the organization, I have to use these road inspectors to be work supervisors to supervise. You see, we clean the highway. They are actually doing that right now. So the capacity to drive the country and analyze the road systems for identify defects is a big shortcoming.
Madam Chair, I'm referring.
Thank you. I understand.
I expected. Yes, I get the question. I thought I was making a monologue. So I would appreciate an answer.
Okay, well, before doing so, would you like to repeat your question, Member Prasad, so that they would have the benefit of hearing it again, and then they will give the answer, and then I will revert to you, Member Mohit, because I know that your particular question was really ideally addressed to the Ministry of Rural Development and Local Government, right? So I will...
No, I asked...
No, I'm speaking about Member Mohit's question. Yeah. So if you can indulge us with repeating your question.
All right, I'll try to be less abstract this time.
Okay.
Specifically, is the Ministry of Works, are you looking at training, firstly, the contractors that do repair works? And secondly, with regard to the design of bridges and drains, etc., in the local regions, are you doing some training in that regard for the officers of the regional corporations? Two specific questions.
Madam Chair, I'll try to answer part of the question, and Mr. Balfour could assist with the rest. The ministry actually works closely with WASA because they are the main entity that, with the contractors that they engage to do the rehabilitative works on their pipeline and then repave, right? And a lot of the problems that local government faces because the works done by these contractors are not to the standard, right? So we have conducted repairs in the past, training, right? Simulation training, we brought them in, showed them how to do it. But you don't really get the proper, I must put it this way, the throughput, Well, I'll put Mr. Balfour to basically clarify in terms of what training would have been provided in terms of helping the local government and WASA improve their road repairs.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair and committee. With regards to training for personnel of the regional corporations and local government, the ministry has undertaken training for 2 corporations with regards to paving or pothole patching, and we also did training with regards to concrete works. I believe that will be Port of Spain Corporation. We have indicated that the training facilitation is available, so that is ongoing or can be continued. So it is something that we will and are open to facilitate. With regards to contractors being trained, it's not so much training that we undertake. We sensitize and highlight prior to the execution our expectations to the contractors, so that when they do execute the works, they are aware as to what we are looking for, as well as making sure that whatsoever they deliver, it meets our specifications. But to say training of contractors, no, we don't really conduct training for contractors.
Madam Chair, can you indulge me for 1 quick second?
I will do so, but just a follow-up on something he said, and then I will revert to
I want
you.
to follow up on what he said also.
No worries, I will allow you to. Mr. Balfour, you referred to training that has occurred. For our record, can you indicate which corporations received the benefit of this training?
It would have been Port of Spain Corporation, as well as I believe it would be PNLDB, if I'm not, I think, correct.
Okay, thank you. Professor Prasad, member.
I apologize for my button in, Madam Chair, but I thought it's important to ask this question. If people have received training, or they have been given the specifications for the repair, and I don't think it should be confined only to repairs done by WASA. Is there any follow-up? So, for instance, contractor A keeps on doing bad work. Firstly, are the repairs looked at? And then secondly, is there any follow-up action if particular contractor or set of contractors not doing good work? Is there any sort of system in place to ensure that do work or prevent them from doing work unless they improve themselves?
Madam Chair, to you. What I would answer to that question is, prior to the execution of the works, we sensitize what are the expectations in relation to during the execution. If shortcomings are observed, it is brought to their attention to be addressed prior to the completion of the exercise. And at the end of when contractors execute their works, they are evaluated and sensitized as to all areas where their shortcomings are. So this is an ongoing process with the contractors who execute works. But I believe you are alluding to eliminating persons who haven't shown improvement or get better over time. Can't really answer to that at present. Right?
MP Mohit with respect to the identification of roads by the engineers preparing a listing and bringing it to the CEO. The projects that are identified through my corporation is done by the councillors of the respective electoral district. They identify the roads. Now what happens is that when you prepare your draft estimates, you have to submit the roads that you need to repair in the following year. If there's any change in that project, you have to apply for a change of project which takes time. And with the current system we have for awarding of contract with the OPR, that is a no-no. We'll certainly not meet the deadline before the end of the financial year.
Sure.
Thank you.
Thank
Mr.
you,
Mayor.
Chair, and thank you, Mayor. But what you're saying may more lean to the DP side, developmental program, specifically road repairs, those recurrent road repairs. Now, some of the submissions indicated that corporations utilize routine field inspections, reports from councillors and stakeholders, public complaints, and a needs-based prioritization framework using technical and community input and assessment criteria to determine the roads for repair. So what I'm asking is how often are routine field inspections conducted, and whether the corporations maintain an inventory. So when you get materials or you have access to materials, whether by your own corporation, utilizing your program of works, or whether through the assistance of the Ministry of Works, you can pull from your inventory based on a priority listing. Of course, ensuring that you assist all your councillors, etc. Or does anyone have an alternative system to that?
Madam Chair, I'm through you. The Ministry have been working closely with TNTech. Actually, TNTech has a drone technology, drone AI technology, where they check their electrical system from the air and they actually capture all the roads and the potholes, right? That database, we can access it through TNTech. It will just tell us which roads are very bad in terms of how many potholes or whatever, in terms of size and location, and quantify, assist us quantifying how much materials we need to go in and repair, whether it doesn't make sense to do a road patching or go and do a sectional rehabilitation or a full repaving of the road, right? So we're trying to work smarter rather than harder, and we're trying to utilize the most modern technology we have, which is the drone AI technology. So we can access that database, and we met with both WASA and TNTech, and we're working very closely with them in terms of trying to improve the road networks. Because by us helping local government fix their roads, it takes the stress off of us, and we can focus on our national highways.
Thanks.
Thanks, PS, but I wanted to find out from Ministry of Local Government or regional corporations, because I would tell you that you have technical officers within our municipal corporations. You have the technical officer from Ministry of Local Government here with us today. I would like to hear, coming from the ministry and working with the municipalities, what system is being put in place. For example, I would just refer to a road or the cleaning of a pond, and you have technical officers, they continuously move to different regional corporations. And I would call at times, I've had experiences, and these officers don't even know a pond exists at the location. I'm not saying Shogunas, because I am between two corporations. So there are instances of these things existing. That's why I'm asking whether the corporation, through its it's stated in the response, whether it is really happening and whether it is existing at our local government bodies, so that we can improve service delivery. So it is for local government ministry to answer us here. I see you are answering, but I'm really directing the question to Ministry of Local Government respectfully.
You may proceed, Mr. Balrup. Are you taking the question?
Yeah, Madam Chair, through you. I know the question is more so directed to the corporations, and they would probably be able to provide a more accurate response. What I can say is I know there are a number of road officers and other technical officers at each corporation that are responsible for the different districts. Sometimes they are stretched in terms of with the deficiency in staff, and sometimes have more than one district. But I am aware that their responsibility lies within those districts where they are supposed to traverse those areas that they are responsible for, investigate complaints, and thereby they would obviously don't pick up the information that you're speaking of. As to whether they provide the information to the technical head and collate an inventory, I cannot say. That information does not come to the ministry. and perhaps maybe the corporations could, those that are here could perhaps enlighten us as to if in fact that is the process they use.
Thanks very much, Mr. Balrup. Mr. Mayor, is it that you wish to share your own perspective on your process? And I will invite at least 2 others to share.
Madam Chair. Madam Chair, based on a request that came from the Ministry of Works earlier this year in January, where they asked us to provide a number of roads for that mobile patching, my officers went out and they looked at the entire region, some of the bad roads that really needed those repairs. We submitted a listing with about 15 or 20 roads. We got hot mix 2 days. And on the day before we were supposed to receive, we got a call indicating that the project has been stopped. They have asked us now to go in, measure the width, the depth, the size of the pothole, how much material is required to fill those holes and give them in total what is required in terms of tonnage for the repairs to those potholes. Those documents were submitted to the Ministry of Works 3 months now. I've been trying to get information. Why haven't we received any hot mix? Because we have lost the entire dry season now. And that information was submitted through our road officers, one who went out there, took the time, measured the holes, got the depth, and prepared the required amount of material they need to repair those roads. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yeah. Member Marcel, sorry, your mic.
Sorry. Thank you very kindly, Madam Chair. Mayor, in relation to your statements concerning the request that was submitted from the Ministry of Works and then your response through your road officers after they would have went out in the field and conducted their work and so on, do you have an estimation of how many tons of either asphalt or hot mix that were, and just a general estimation of how many was required to fix the major ones?
That information was submitted to the Ministry of Works. I can provide a copy of that document to you.
Right. Thank you very kindly.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other? Sure.
Madam Chair, with the Penal Debye Regional Corporation, we have a collaborative effort with the council and the technocrats, the technical officers. We have a good working relationship. We have roadways that would be brought forward in practically any meetings that we deem it an important aspect. The officers may bring things together with the councillors and to treat with ad hoc requests. We don't only rely on the physical infrastructure meeting. We look at the other meetings and we try to prioritize once the equipment is available and the materials are available. We try to get the work done with the necessary approvals.
Thank you. Mr. Jagmohan? Yes, Ms. Graham, is it?
Yes, through you, Chair. At the San Fernando City Corporation, in general, the prioritization is done by council. My staff would do inspections and investigations of routes within their designated areas, and based on certain information that they would receive from the inspection, they would relay the information to the councillors. Now, we as the engineering department, from my stint there, which is very short, we have not submitted our priority listing to council, and maybe that is something that we can try. However, what we do is that we ensure that we inform the councillors of the areas that we believe are critical, and we also encourage them to add them to the program of works for the recurrent projects that we do, which is the mobile patching works. We also encourage them, based on our expertise and the extent of the works that is required, whether or not it is more appropriate to fall under the development program. However, in general, prioritization would come from council. There are times, however, where the engineering department, with, of course, my permission as well as the CEO permission, we would take the initiative for specific complaints, and this is specific to recurrent works. So where we have complaints that potentially could endanger the members of the public and their property, their vehicles, etc., some of which may cause issues with neighboring properties like houses, etc., we would tend to prioritize those things for ourselves. It's almost like taking a chance, so to speak. It's us saying this is something that is urgent, and we do not believe that council will go against it. We do report these works in our progress report, which happens on a monthly basis. It is submitted to council for review, and thus far we have not had any complaints. Also, on a regular basis, I would receive, as well as the CEO, would receive from the councillors throughout the course of that month, they would receive requests in general. So we typically would ensure that the council requests are met. But if there are some very critical areas that potentially could cause harm to the members of the public, then we take the initiative.
Thank you for sharing your perspective, Ms. Graham. I want to revisit one issue that I believe was traversed by Mr. Ramden. Just for our records, is there a dollar value of losses incurred due to theft of materials that you have? You have a record of that?
Madam Chair, through you, the ministry, we procure aggregate, limestone, all the ingredients to go and mix with the bitumen. The bitumen is procured through Lake Asphalt. When that is that enters the asphalt plant, the Agua Santa plant, that's the only plant that government owns for the asphalt mix, right? Then we distribute it accordingly, right? In the past, we would just drop the material, and when I look through the files, I'm asking where the delivery notes to say that this is what was received or who received what, where did it go. The accountability process is not there reporting back, right? Going forward, there's a lot of requests coming in for hot mix asphalt. The reality is that the Agua Santa plant has undergone an upgrade. There's an electrical issue we're trying to resolve right now, so that should be back up and running as soon as possible. Once that happens, we will have to go into a cost-sharing arrangement where aggregate and bitumen, probably resources would have to be procured through the local government and given to us so that we could blend it for them and give it back to them, right? So we try to have, we have better accountability in terms of when we distribute ours and we give it, we know that going somewhere, right? And not in somebody's backyard. And that's what I'm saying in terms of accountability. Yeah.
What I'm really asking is, so there might be some gaps arising, as you say, accountability, but do we have a quantifiable amount for any losses in these gaps? If the material is taken or there's an alleged theft of the material, do we have a quantifiable amount?
Madam Chair, through you, I could tell you in San Fernando, there's next to Golconda, there's a stockpile of mineral material, right? That's a Ministry of Works site. I recently visited it, and it's not even fenced. There's no watchman on site. There's a set of material there. And you see evidence of backhoe going in and taking out material, trucks creating alternative access points. So I'm looking at all the facilities, district offices right now to improve security and monitoring of these sites, right? So there's evidence that personnel, even so when I have the Agua Santa plant and I order aggregate, I'm not too sure if that aggregate is diverted, right? So the monitoring and evaluation in the ministry has been a big weakness over the last 10 years, and we want to fix it, right? We kind of gradually building it back up where it's supposed to be in terms of reporting frameworks.
I'm glad to hear that there's a plan to monitor, but it would also be helpful if you could assess what are the losses so you can know the extent of the problem. I believe that Member Thomas had a question and followed by Member Marcel.
Madam Chair, through you, I have a question and I have a couple of concerns. The question is, I am wondering, based on what the mayor said, if it is reasonable to request the data on the potholes and the size of the potholes and all that to furnish to the ministry with the expectation that you would have material to do your work. Because in the mayor's comment, he did say that he submitted in excess of 3 months, and there has not been a response. How do we account for the further deterioration of the potholes over that last 3 months? How we would know that what we supply in terms of material would actually get the roads fixed? You see, I'm thinking that when we institute a system, and we meet the demands to have these data produced, it is because we are looking for immediate action. And if we don't get immediate action, how do we account for the gap? And how do we intend to justify that the request that we make is a request that will in fact solve a problem? Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Member Thomas. I believe that was more a comment. So I will allow Member Marcel to raise his question.
Deeply grateful, Madam Chair. P.S., you indicated that there is some issues concerning the monitoring and evaluation aspects of the ministry in relation to materials that are owned by the state, purchased by the state, being stolen somewhere or the other. And this has been going on for some significant time, you have indicated. What steps, if any, in your opinion, can be taken as it relates to involving the arms of the national of our national security to protect against these further waste of resources, which obviously all our municipal corporations are deeply in need of? So, again, my question is, what, in your opinion, are some immediate steps that can be taken through any partnership with the arms of the state in relative to national security to prevent same from continuing?
Chair, through you. One solution for addressing the issue of proper control of inventory is to have a national stockpile. The ministry has a stockpile in Beetham, right, across the highway, Barretera there. There's a next one, right, for mill material. These things are left unguarded, right? I'm looking at the aspect of having a central stockpile, a central stores, right? So I could have everything monitored. We made representation for taking on more watchmen, right? Our estate police is reduced to a minimal number right now since the split. We're looking at the aspect of improving the estate police because they're the ones precepted to drive and monitor. So we're looking at the whole security coverage aspect of the ministry right now for evaluating and beefing it up.
Can we see that those recommendations find its way into the ministry's fiscal planning for 2026, 2027?
Yes, it's actually in progress right now. There's in terms of national quarries, which is a resource for supplying us, We are doing an audit and assessment on national quarries right now. We're looking at systems to basically safeguard the material so that we could have it accessible for our plant, right? So we are looking at whole system improvement optimization right now inside the ministry.
Deeply grateful. Thank you, Madam Chair. And thank you, PS.
Thank you. I want to shift to some specific questions for the corporations. And I'd like to start with the Chaguanas Borough Corporation. Your submission stated that the equipment available for road repairs works, that of the equipment available, the backhoe number 2 is currently in need of repairs. How long has it been under repair? And when will these repairs be concluded? This is for the Chaguanas Borough Corporation.
Yeah, Madam Chair. So the repairs to the backhoe number 2, the last estimate done by the workshop amounted to about $60,000. And based on the fact that we have other equipment that would cost less to repair, we tend to send the funds in that direction, right? So we have to basically make a strategic choice in terms of how we spend the money, because if we would have gotten $250,000 in our recurrent last year to do repairs for our entire fleet, right? So if we were to put the $60,000 towards that, it would have taken out too much for just one piece of equipment, right? So hopefully if we get a increase in the next financial year, we will look at fixing that piece of equipment.
Thank you very much. My next question is to the Superior Borough Corporation. And so I want to refer to the submissions that you made, and in particular, that there are certain measures that are uniformly applied to awarded contracts. So I'll remind you of what some of those are. That there are cash performance bonds required from all contractors, that there are retention fees of 5% to 10% of contract sums that are withheld pending satisfactory completion, and that there is a liability period of 1 to 2 months observed on all completed works, during which the defects will be rectified by the contractor at no cost to the corporation. So in light of that, the first thing I want to ask is, what is the standard defects liability period for roadworks across corporations? Is there a standard defects period?
Madam Chair, the standard tend to be around 3 months.
2 weeks?
3 months.
Oh, 3 months, okay. And have you ever had to utilize this clause in any of your contracts? And how often would you say in your estimation?
The clause are always used in each contract, but in terms of enforcement, yes, we use it.
What I'm saying, yes, the clause is in the contract, but have you had to rely on it? And how often you've had to do so?
But so far, we did not have any issues where we have to forfeit the bonds or anything, but it does help in ensuring that the contractors complete the work.
And specifically the retention of fees, you've had to do those things?
Yes.
Okay, and you would say often or not often?
Not often.
And in circumstances where that clause was enforced, was the contractor penalized in any way?
Okay, one of the issues we face, especially in recent time, due to the delay in getting releases, like for instance, recently we had a case where because of the longer time the funds were released, it extended beyond the warranty period. And we had a case where we had a damaged culvert. And more or less it was out of the period. But fortunately, the contractor, in good faith, promised to do the work.
Okay, that would have been fortunate for you. And as we're on that topic, how soon would you say after the defects liability period do issues of repair arise from your observation?
It varies based because, again, we have different types of road.
Of course.
So it varies. So sometimes it could be early, but in most cases...
And when you say early, you could give me...
It could be within probably 3 months after.
Okay. Thank you. I would invite Professor Prasad. I believe you had a specific question for the Arima Borough Corporation.
Thank you, Madam Chair. But I just wanted to just refer to something, the question you just asked. The liability period, this is 1 to 2 months. But you just said after 3 months you look at it. I'm confused there. Because there's a specific, defects and liability period. If you said 1 to 2 months, at 3 months, there's no liability. So is that a mistake or?
Well, more or less, we give a period based on the nature of the contract. So when I said 3 months, it depends on, sometimes depending on the cost of the job, we may extend the liability period.
Oh, so it's not fixed 1 to 2 months. I think that wasn't clear. So I know like in large contracts, you have a liability period of 1 year or so there, generally speaking. Yeah, with the Arima Borough Corporation, Madam Chair, the staff complement, is it all filled or still vacancies at the Arima Borough Corporation?
Madam Chair, through you, currently under the Works Department, we have 1 appointed work supervisor 2 and 4 work supervisor 1s that are acting. They are the persons responsible for assessing road conditions and patching through the our in-house team. So our work supervisor 1s are acting, they're not appointed. And then on our projects team, that's the team that deals with the DP developmental program projects, the PSIP projects. We have 1 acting engineering assistant 2. So that's the current staffing we have.
Thank you, sir. Through you, Madam Chair, when you look, who within your staff complement looks at the quality of work done, and is it done with standard tests or visual observations only?
Madam Chair, through you, I just want to clarify that question. Is it regarding patching or paving?
Both.
Okay. Right. So with patchwork, the work supervisors, they supervise the jobs regarding all patching with our in-house team. With the paving works, it is myself and another member of my technical team in the projects department that oversees the contractors when they're executing the paving works.
Madam Chair, through you, you didn't answer the question. Is it just visual observations? For instance, like, let's take, for instance, potholes.
No, it's not. It's not visual observations alone. Sometimes we do ask the contractors to. Some of them have thermometers to check the temperature of the hot mix, as well.
No, but specifically when you're finished. Let's give a specific example. You're patching a pothole. Do you have? Normally it gets a bit higher than the roadway. You have specifications for that, or it's, in terms of your patching, the design, and then say this is what you require?
So, in terms of the patching, no, we tend to, our specifications, we don't have a written specification document for patchwork, but we tend to leave it about approximately a little under an inch higher than the existing surface.
And finally, Madam Chair, do you actually measure like a visual inspection? Like say, so you do visual inspections only, basically?
For patching, Madam Chair, through you, yes, visual inspections are conducted.
And lastly, through Madam Chair, when you do paving work, with regard to, again, specification, I've seen places where the paving is higher than the pavement on which you walk. So do you look at these sort of things?
Through the chair, that does not happen in ARIMA before a project is executed or before a project is scoped. What we look at, it's the height of the sidewalk to the carriageway, and then we prepare the scope. That way, when the contractor executes, the contractor is aware of what they have to do, at what depth the road needs to be milled and paved at, and so forth, what thickness of asphalt we need to apply.
Thank you. I'm glad to hear RIMA is working well.
Thank you. Member Marcel, you had a question?
Thank you very kindly, Madam Chair. To the ARIMA Borough Corporation, you indicated that in your submissions, you indicated that 100% of your internal patching, 100% of your patching is done internally. Member Passad asked earlier in relation to the complement of staff under the works department that treats with the internal patching, and you identified all work supervisors, different in terms of approximate of 5 persons make up that team.
To answer that question specifically, through you, Madam Chair, what happens is one of the work supervisors, 1 out of the 5, supervises the asphalt gang. Our asphalt gang is comprised of approximately 10 daily rated workers, inclusive of a driver to operate the vehicle. And a 1 work supervisor who's in charge of it supervises the patching.
Understood. So you have about 5 supervisors and about 10 daily, about a team of 10 daily paid workers. All right, so I got you correct there.
That's correct.
In terms of the existing manpower vacancy, are all the vacancies filled under the Works Department as we speak?
With the monthly paid staff, there are persons that are, like I said, there are persons that are acting. So, I mean, they are filled, but they are not appointed. Now, our daily rated section, which is the asphalt team, given the resources we have in terms of the mechanical equipment, that is all we can handle right now. And given though we are the smallest municipality of approximately 4.6 square miles, our infrastructure is aged and is failing, and in terms of more developments are taking place and so forth, there's more businesses, more residential homes are being constructed. We do need additional staffing, we do need additional resources for material and so forth. So additional financial resources to procure the asphalt needed for that.
Deeply grateful. One last question. With your current staffing arrangement and with your current resources allocated, let's say for this fiscal, could you give an estimation of, in terms of, by way of some form of metric, in terms of how many tons of hot mix was used and or procured specifically for internal patching, and or if you have any listing of the amount, let's say the amount of meters in paving that was covered within this fiscal, or perhaps even to make it much more simple, if you can give an average as per month with the resources and the staff at the ARIMA Borough Corporation concerning the Works Department that treats 100% with your patching internally, what average you are looking at for the whole borough?
So, through the chair, Madam Chair, through you, to answer that question, approximation, within a financial year, we usually would want to request between 80 to 100 tons of asphaltic mix. Sometimes hot mix is required, sometimes we usually use cold mix. And that is to facilitate the approximately 400 roads within the municipality. Now, given each financial year changes because of the potholes being developed, especially with others, with potholes formed from other state agencies such as WASA, we have to anticipate those things. So it varies, but every financial year we anticipate a minimum of 80 tons of mix required for patching.
Thank you, Mr. Gafoor. Professor Prasad, Member Prasad, you had a question?
Thank you, Madam Chair. With regard to partner with the private sector, the reality is the state of the roads now are not what it should be. So there's a lot of work that needs to be done. We have just heard that all the corporations are sort of short-staffed and fast-staffed, with money also, there are issues with money. So if we get the communities to work together and private businesses within the various local sort of government, corporations, councils, is there any plan to actually formalize this sort of partnership with businesses and private people in any particular area to assist with the patching of potholes in particular? I guess that question is the regional corporation or Ministry of Local Government also.
Through the Chair, Madam Chair, to answer Mr. Prasad's question on behalf of Arima Borough Corporation, with our council, we are trying to achieve this, but we are still making an attempt for this.
When you say attempts, what have been those attempts, if you mind sharing?
Well, through our council, we are seeking our council to reach out to the business community if they can assist, at least procuring the materials, and we could assist in terms of the patching.
Thank you, Mr. Gafoor. Any other corporation wishes to share on their own initiatives? Thank you.
Yes, Madam Chair, with respect to that question, there are times when burgesses throughout the region, when corporation cannot reach to satisfy the needs, they usually come forward and purchase the material. We provide transport, equipment, and labor to do those patching.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Anyone else?
Chair, I agree with the last speaker. And in addition, I believe the technical department, the technical officers would have to investigate and ensure that the roadways being addressed does not fall entirely on a private approach. It's roads that would be utilized for public access and bridge with that aspect.
Thank you, Mr. Jagmohan.
Madam Chair, if I may contribute also, the Ministry of Works has a materials lab, and we actually test our hot mix asphalt in this lab. There's a risk of the regional corporation buying off-spec material, applying off-spec material that may not yield the best result. I would advise them to, whatever they procure, to send a sample to our lab for testing so that we can advise them on the quality control.
Just a quick follow-up. I guess, I understand that, and it's maybe ideal, but you don't want to prevent people from actually stepping forward and helping. And that's why I asked the question earlier. If you can sort of let the regional corporations know what exactly is required, some of the design requirements, because really I get the impression that people want to help, but they need a proper mechanism in which, through which to help. So I'm suggesting that you really go back to the question I asked initially, what is being done in that regard to help the corporations improve you know, their works and their processes.
Madam Chair, we have been talking with some of these hot mix asphalt providers, who operate the plants, and they complain that the bitumen is not coming to the quality when it's imported. Sometimes they don't get to the quality they expect, right? So when they do the mix, you may not get the proper bind, and so it's very important. We do a traceability on the bitumen that's coming in at the hot mix asphalt plant, what is being blended, check the materials that goes into, and all of that our lab could do.
Last question. If I use local slang, I want to ask this because I find this is, you know, I haven't spent my life in a university. And the government spends a lot of money in the university. We have a lot of trained manpower people, there people who are, you know, competent. And I don't get the impression that the universities are being drawn upon to make full use in terms of advice and, you know, and training, etc. Is there any movement in that regard?
Yes, Madam Secretary, the ministry has a project called ICAP. It's working directly with universities so that we could set up a database so that we could capture information and share it with the civil engineering department so that they could get field information and, you know, issues we have in reconstruction and quality control, the quality of services rendered. Simple as the asphalt, you know, it warps at 60 degrees Celsius. The heat on the road, when you pave in the wet season, they don't get the proper bind, so you have to look at the dry season to pave. The cash flow coming out from the Ministry of Finance is not matching the seasonal time frames. So we need the cash flow to happen in the dry season versus the wet season, so we can fix the roads in the dry season. All these things, you know, has to be synchronized, and we could share that knowledge to everyone.
Thank you. I want to ask, this is about the contracts and selecting contractors. In your submissions, we would have noted, that corporations generally use open and selective tendering to procure contractors for the road repairs. Can you share what factors determine whether open tendering or selective tendering is used for road projects? Would anyone want to share? Mr. Balrup, you want to share? Thanks.
Yes, Madam Chair. I can't speak to the corporations, but at the ministry, we do in fact use, as you mentioned, selective tendering, and what we try to do is to use, of course, we use contractors from the OPR depository. That's the first thing, and we try to zone contractors within a particular area. So if we're doing a project in South, you know, we would try to use contractors that address located in the South area, if it's in the North and Central and so on. We find that works well for us with respect to, particularly for roadworks. Of course, for different types of works, you might have to widen the pool, but particularly for roadworks, we tend to do that, and we find that works well. I'm not certain what the corporations, what method they use and the reason or the rationale for it.
Thank you, Mr. Balrup. So you shared that the location of the contractor is a factor. Are there any other eligibility factors that you consider aside from that?
Madam Chair, some of the factors we look at as well with selecting contractors is those who have a proven track record of asphalt works, who own their own plant and equipment, as well as they have the technical capacity to execute these jobs. that also plays a factor into how we select the contractors for the specific paving jobs.
Thank you very much, Mr. Padilla. Ms. Graham, I see you nodding. Do you have any, I'd like to hear your perspective on the eligibility criteria that you also consider.
Through you, Chair, I do agree with both persons who responded. In general, we do open tendering, partially because we want to ensure that we get works done as quickly as possible, and by spreading the playing field, so to speak, we get more persons, we get the projects being distributed more, right, versus just isolation with specific contractors. And of course, knowing how late sometimes we receive confirmation of funds, that is necessary. However, there are projects based on our investigations prior that we realize these projects need specific expertise attention. These projects need to be done in a quick time frame, in a time frame where we do not need delays. For example, projects where there are, the areas are high traffic areas, projects where there are high risks, it's close to precipice or at the edge. So we want to use selective tendering because we want to ensure that the best persons get the opportunity to do the work and we benefit at the end without, well, I should say with the least risk possible. If we open it to tender, sometimes contractors, they just bid a low price and they score really well, and we end up with a lot of challenges and problems. So we can't take that risk. So we go with the selective tendering for things like that. A lot of the times we consider persons who we have had experience with as an organization. They have done incredibly good work, and we can vouch for them, so to speak, helping us to ensure that this particular project is successful, in addition to, of course, their price, their bid price, as well as the scores that we would give for their expertise, etc.
Thank you, Mr. Jagmohan. Do you have anything you wish to share from the Penal Debate Corporation's perspective?
I agree totally with all the speakers prior to speaking. And yes.
Sorry, you can activate the microphone.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I'm in agreement with all the previous speakers. And yes, sometimes for the competitive edge, you may have the tendering process open bidding, so that, as indicated, you spread it out. You're able to, in the shortest space of time, achieve numerous projects happening in the shortest space of time with the many contractors who might be contracted. But there are the cases with where selective is for sure the better way to go. You want to get that consistency with the work, with the output of work, and you need to get that specialized touch to the work to be done.
Thank you. I want to go to the Diego Martin Borough Corporation and a specific question to that corporation regarding recruitment. The position of the county superintendent is vacant, yes?
Chair, through you, not anymore.
Oh, because I was going to ask, what are the specific recruitment plans for this position? So when was it filled?
Last Friday. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much. Also, I believe at the Penal Debe Regional Corporation, the position of county superintendent is also vacant, yes?
Currently, we had some changes. I would have moved up to the position of work superintendent. We have a county superintendent who has reported last week to the corporation. We have with us the road officer one, which is geared to move up to road officer 2, Ms. Gillian. And we would be at least, we'll be missing 2 road officer ones and a work supervisor one. We would need those positions to be filled.
And what are the interim arrangements you have put in place in the absence of those?
Luckily, we have some intelligent personnel with us, We have the daily paid checkers who assist as district supervisors in the absence of the road officer, the monthly paid road officer ones. We have a couple of foreman 2 positions and CRO 2 positions within the districts, the administrative district of Penal and Debe. We would have 10 electoral areas that have the daily paid staff that assist with the road rehabilitation works. 10 gangs in 10 teams that have 8 laborers per team. The only stress with that is each team has a permanent staff of about 3 laborers. So 5 of the laborers really outsourced through contract services, short-term contract. It would be nice if we get some sustainable approach to get these labor force in, and that's something to look forward to in the future. If ministry could look into that aspect, and yeah, we're functioning to do the road rehabilitation works. Luckily, with these contracted short-term contracted workers and the current monthly paid staff we have.
Thank you, Mr. Jagmohan. Any other members have any residual questions that you wish to ask? Yes, Member Marcel.
Perhaps I could direct this question, Madam Chair. Thank you very kindly. Let's look at Diego Martin Borough Corporation. Now, there is an ongoing issue between WASA repairing the necessary leaks that they have to in the major roads, some of which includes the roads that are vested in the corporation and which the corporation have the responsibility for. There is indication from the submissions that we receive from several corporations that WASA essentially commence work within the municipal corporation's district without informing the municipal corporation. Now, the Municipal Corporation Act dictates that where any agency wants to either open a road, break a pavement, do works and so on, that they are not only obligated to notify, but also to seek approval to bear the cost of any expenditure in terms of, let's say, for supervising for overtime, and to make sure that the standard is acceptable at the corporation. So my question is two-tiered. The first being, have WASA provided any explanation for commencing work within specifically the Diego Martin Borough Corporation, and perhaps we can hear from another corporation? Does WASA, or did they give any explanation as to why they have continuously commenced work in your district without informing you?
Chair, through you, not to my knowledge, I believe it's the same thing in most corporations. WASA tend to deal with whatever issue they have, and with such agency that they usually go before informing us.
Yeah. What steps, if any, has the corporation taken with regards to, especially with the protections, the statutory entrenched provisions in the Municipal Corporation Act that provides that all state agencies or private contractors must seek the approval of council in order to do these things? If we have seen over the years, it has probably even come the norm throughout the country where it happens. Are any steps being taken in the short term to enforce the corporation's rights in relation to maintaining the roadways to a standard that the corporation would like, in relation specific as it relates to WASA?
Chair, through you, in regards to the WASA situation, a lot of the times what we do is we kind of note whichever pothole or whatever area WASA working in, we have it listed, and then we pass the information along to WASA through the regional corporation regional coordinating meeting, right? We also note it through our CorpSec, obviously, to have these things documented, because these things cost the corporation when we have to consistently fix issues that stems from them.
Does WASA frequently within the last, let's say within the last 3 months, have been attending the regional coordinating meeting at Diego Martin Borough Corporation?
Occasionally.
Occasionally.
Yeah,
How can you give an estimate in terms of an average, whether it's once every 3 months, or is it once every 6 months?
Two-thirds.
Yeah?
You could say two-thirds.
Two-thirds?
Yeah.
The two-thirds for the year? All right. Deeply grateful. Thank you very kindly, Madam Chair.
Okay, thank you very much, Member Marcel, and I believe that concludes all of the questions we have. Sorry, okay, you may proceed.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Madam Chair, we would have heard a lot in this session this afternoon in terms of, especially from the PS, from the Ministry of Works. So before we leave here this evening, I would just like to state something. The PS mentioned that he has no line item with respect to, for potholes and so on within the corporations, right? And what is requested at the coordinated meetings. What really happens at the coordinated meetings is that we do not ask the Ministry of Works to fix the roads under the jurisdiction of the corporation. What we ask at the coordinated meetings is that when people bring complaints to us from the public or whatever communication is made for potholes that exist under their jurisdiction, those are the requests that are made at the coordinated meeting, not to fix the roads that we are responsible for, but for what they are responsible for. So the line item that the PS spoke about is, we know that. So we want to ask them to fix our local roads. We'll be making representation for the burgesses, for the residents on the roads that they are responsible for, or for pavements, manhole covers and so on, that on the main roads that they are responsible for. So that is really what happens at the coordinating meeting there, where we ask of the various agencies what they are responsible for. And Madam Chair, with respect to the identification of the potholes, is really each electoral district has a councillor, and the councillor really goes through his or her area and brings to the council, to the attention of the council, and make requests to fix it. Now, the reason why not much of the potholes are fixed is because of the resources. And you would know, and this committee should know, that with respect to recurrent expenditure, the resources are limited. So when sometimes we get 12 or 15 tons annually, it doesn't go a long way. And then the potholes continually deteriorate. So it's really sometimes the lack of resources. So it is important this meeting today, this is said that we can somehow urge the authorities to give us a little more finances with respect to recurrent expenditure. And this is where sometimes the private residents or business people in the area sometimes decide to assist, as the member was saying, in providing some sort of oil sand or maybe some hot mix, cold mix, where now we as the corporation would partner with them in terms of providing the labor and the machinery and so on, where they assist in fixing roads in various vicinities. So it's really, we have to work with limited resources, but, we try to work on how best we work together to get it done. So we do not really depend too much on as a lot was said from the Ministry of Works, but there's really representation that under their jurisdiction that we are making such requests for. Thank you.
Thank you. The clarification is well received, Councillor Sukdeo. I wish to now give an opportunity to Mrs. Budram, yes?
Yes, Madam Chairperson. Regarding to Mr. Karim Marcel about WASA and the digging up of the roads and all that. In our regional meeting, what I had asked the WASA reps to do, together with each councillor, we have 10 councillors in our region, to form a WhatsApp group. So, and together with the officers and our administration, in that WhatsApp group, immediately, if the councillors or whoever is there see a pothole that was a dog and to do road restoration, immediately we will put that in the chat, the group chat, and WASA will respond to get that fixed. So it wouldn't take a long time that to come back again in a regional meeting or write a letter to say that you want that done. It's instant that they will respond, the WASA reps will respond to that and get it in our regional meeting. Together with even the Ministry of Works too, we form that WhatsApp group, and potholes, all that, we send it to that chat and they respond.
Madam Chair, if I may, thank you very kindly, Councillor, in relation to that comment. I think that it's a commendable step. Let me ask concerning the WhatsApp group concerning that initiative with the WhatsApp group concerning WASA reps and the councillors. Can you indicate around when that initiative kicked off in terms of that WhatsApp?
About 2 months now.
About 2 months ago.
Yeah.
All right. Now, I note that WASA would have sent out in the public, by way of a memo that made its way to the public, basically streamlining that any request for concerning any information concerning WASA repairs or any works or any stuff or anything of the sort, that it has to go through the CEO's office, and then the CEO's office or through communications would provide that feedback and back and forth and so on. So I'm happy to know that such an arrangement is being is put in place in Penal DB with WASA and the councillors, and perhaps other corporations here today, based on that precedent, might be able to mirror that in their corporations and reaching out to WASA so that they can have that effective communication, as well as I suspect better results as well. All right, so that's my quick comment on that.
Okay, thank you very much, and thank you all for your questions and contributions. So now I would invite the following, Dr. Chaitan Maraj, you may proceed.
Good evening. Directed to PSs, after hearing everything from this evening's contributions, can I ask through you, Chair, most likely it would have to be in writing, but just for completeness, a list of roads paved under PURE, and if it could be disaggregated by municipality. Yeah.
And do you have a period for 3-year period?
Under question.
Okay. Right. Yeah. Okay, and on that note, I wish to inform all corporations that you can expect requests coming from us to you for written responses based on today's contributions. Yes? I will now invite the following persons to make brief closing remarks, and we will start with Mr. Ian Ramdin, Permanent Secretary of the Ministry of Works and Infrastructure. 30 seconds to 1 minute. Thank you.
Madam Chair, through you, I'd like to thank this committee for giving the Ministry of Works and Infrastructure the opportunity to provide clarification and insight in terms of the work program. The financial situation is such that, there's limited resources. We are trying to beef up back the in-house capacity to do work internally, right? You would see things like we're not using compactors anymore to compact the road where you get that hump. The reason because they did not use any rollers, So we're changing our approach to say that we will not be using compactors, we're using rollers, so you won't see you'll see a smoother road rather than a hump. Okay, changing the standard. So we procedures in terms of how to repair the potholes, in terms of ask the departments to write up these and share it with the local government so that we have a standard procedure. We work with WASA to minimize their uncoordinated repairs and make sure that it's supervised by the Ministry of Works so that it's properly repaired. Ultimately, we want to reduce the burden on taxpayers to come back and fix something and keep spending money on, repairing potholes and road rehabilitation, and let the road last for like 5-6 years without damage. So that's the objective, and ultimately have the state apply those resources elsewhere. So we try to improve our processes, and we work with the regional corporation very closely, and we'll see how best we can help them with the hot mix.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ramdin. And I would next invite His Worship Mayor Dudnath Meru.
Thank you very much for the opportunity. I want to say thank you very much for giving us the opportunity so that we can look forward to some relief coming from the Ministry of Works to assist the regional corporations throughout the country. I know the PSA that funding is a bit of an issue, but we have to find a way of managing the resources effectively and make sure that we close that gap where there is theft and we losing materials and so on that's supposed to go to fix the road for John Public. So I'm looking forward to some relief coming in the very near future, and thank you again once for the opportunity.
You're most welcome, and thank you. Now I invite Councillor Richard Sukdeo.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Again, as my colleague would have stated there, we are grateful for this opportunity and that we can come here and that we can explain and really hear from different members matters that affect the corporation, and also, more importantly, to hear from the members of the committee their concerns, their expectations. And this is a good forum where we can interchange and exchange our ideas, exchange how we really deal with things at the corporation. And we do hope that at the end of this session that our challenges, our constraints would be understood in areas where there may seem to have shortcomings in our delivery of services. But rest assured, Madam Chair and members of the committee, the Chaguanas Borough Corporation is doing all within its capacity with the limited resources and so on to provide the necessary service. Our road rehabilitation and maintenance is only second to the scavenging, cleaning, those services there. And we stress on it a lot because we have a lot of vehicles with sometimes not too new cars in the Chaguanas vicinity, which these potholes can create a lot of damages and so on. But we are working on it, and we are hoping that we improve on the situation by providing those services with our resources. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Sukdeo. Next, we have Mr. Madhu Balrup, Acting Technical Officer at the Ministry of Rural Development and Local Government.
Madam Chair, honourable members of the committee, on behalf of the Ministry of Rural Development and Local Government, I would like to express our sincere appreciation for the opportunity to participate in today's proceedings. We value the observations, recommendations, and guidance provided by the committee and remain committed to strengthening our operations and ensuring the efficient implementation of our programs and projects in service to the people of Trinidad and Tobago. I would also like to thank the committee for the constructive engagement and the opportunity to provide clarification on matters within the ministry's remit. Should any additional information be required, the ministry will make every effort to provide the requested details in a timely manner. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Balrup. Next, we have Mr. Elon Edwards, Work Supervisor 2 at the Arima Borough Corporation.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Really, on behalf of the Arima Borough Corporation, I'd really like to thank you all for this session today. I would just like to reiterate that, finance is a major issue, whether it's for the materials or for the equipment, for us to be able to be efficient and effective at the road patching. I know that all the corporations share the same sentiment, but it's really to employ that it's a very serious thing to take into consideration. Everything that we spoke about today is really critical to assisting with making the roads much more feasible for travelers. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. And now I invite Mr. Akil Solomon, Engineering and Survey Officer at the Diego Martin Regional Corporation.
Madam Chair, honorable members of the committee, on behalf of Diego Martin Borough Corporation, sincere appreciation is extended for the opportunity to participate in this inquiry. The discussions today have highlighted both the progress made and the challenges faced in delivery of road repair and maintenance services. The corporation remains committed to improving service delivery through effective planning, accountability, and collaboration. The insight gained through the process will undoubtedly contribute to the strength and local government and enhancing the quality of life of all our citizens. Thank you for your time and consideration and commitment on this matter.
Thank you, Mr. Solomon. I now invite Mrs. Shanti Budram, Vice Chairman of the Penal Debe Regional Corporation.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and our esteemed committee members. On behalf of the Penal Debe Regional Corporation, I extend our deepest appreciation for the opportunity to engage in this inquiry and to share our perspectives on road repairs and maintenance. This dialogue has reinforced the importance of collaboration between local and national stakeholders in advancing the quality of service delivery to our services. It is through engagement such as these that we uphold the principles of transparency and accountability and chart a path toward a stronger future for our communities and our country. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Ms. Budram. And to end, we invite Ms. Nikish Graham, City Engineer of the San Fernando City Corporation.
Thank you. Through you, Chair. Chairman, I would like to say on behalf of the San Fernando City Corporation that I had reservations with respect to the invitation, and yet I am so pleased with the deliberations and the information that has been provided, and I am honored to have the opportunity to contribute as well. I am hopeful for the future that we can work together, ministries with ministries, the other government agencies, Ministry of Works and Infrastructure. We are excited to have the opportunity to collaborate with each other so that we can do better for our country. I am hopeful that the corporations, because we have a responsibility, we have workers that are committed to doing works for our country and for our areas that we have jurisdiction over. And if we could also have a line item, well, I'm saying line item, a vote that is specific to the mobile patching, then maybe that can also be something that would help and assist in terms of the speed in which works could be facilitated within our jurisdiction. So thank you so much once again, and safe travel to everyone.
Thank you, Ms. Graham, and thank you to all officials present here today for your attendance and your invaluable contributions to today's proceedings. I also wish to thank the committee members for your usual support and participation, and of course, to the support that we receive from the staff of the Office of the Parliament for their professional, procedural, and logistical support. And thank you to the viewing and listening audience. This meeting is now adjourned.